Hello and welcome guys to the first of several guides, walkthroughs, tutorials, however you want to take them, on how I make missions for the UDS ArmA group. In these tutorials I'm going to be working on the basic assault type mission for players, which is players start in one place, they go through objective A, B and C, they're done. There's heaps of different types of missions, defensive, asymmetrical. This is all up to whoever's making the mission and allowing their creativity to sort of go nuts on what they want the premise to be. But I just thought for something as a guide where I'm sort of showing you a bit of how I personally do it and also the technical aspects, I'm not going to go too nuts on any mission ideas. So it's just going to be a very simple assault from point A, B, C, D, missions over. So in this first one, I'm going to be going over how I lay out a mission with setting up markers, the area of operation, and all of that type of jazz. This is going to be on Altus with CSAT fighting the FIA forces. I already sort of have a mission idea for this one, just to sort of speed up things and allow us just to get to how it's done. So let's get started. Bringing up the map, what I like to do is start with flags. So work out where your enemy forces are going to be reinforcing from, where your forces are going to be starting, and where the objectives are going to be surrounded. So with this particular mission, we are, as I said before, going to be CSAT, starting in Lacquer. This is going to be a very infantry-centric mission, so no vehicles besides the transport they use. The objectives are going to be in and around the town of Aegeus Dionysius. Probably fucked that up. My tongue doesn't really bend to Greek words, so you just have to bear with me with that sort of stuff. And also, the FIA are going to have, let's say, reinforcement camps at Core and Topolia. So let's get started. Head up to markers here in the top right, and what I like to do is start throwing down some flags. So we being CSAT starting in Lacquer, I'm going to just drop down a flag where I assume there's going to be a clear enough space for me to put down the units in later tutorials. Next thing is the FIA flag for Core Topolia. That's where they're going to be reinforcing from. And the objectives are going to be in Aegeus, as I said before. Now what you need to do is, if you downloaded the framework from GitHub, it also would have come with a complementing file called Compositions. Compositions is how we handle our playable units without having to place down every single individual one. It places everything you need for a mission in one go. It also does stuff like in-game modules. So to find these, come up to Compositions, go to Custom, and you'll see there's a few here. I've got some extra ones because I've been playing around with them, but the ones that you should have if you haven't made any others will be the Op4 framework, Blue4 framework, and Modules framework. I'll probably do like a, let's say like an addendum tutorial or something on how to install these. It's very easy and not that hard, probably take you about 30 seconds. So anyway, what I need first is the Modules framework. Place this down wherever you want. Just loads up and there you go. The ones of importance for mission makers is the create task module. That's what we use for our objectives and descriptions of those objectives. And also the AO cover trigger. This is the one we're going to be working on now. Now, essentially all this trigger does is you stretch the trigger out to fit where you want your AO to be. It's kind of a guide, and how it works is wherever the trigger is covering, the map will be highlighted, and wherever it's not, it'll be darkened to sort of show the players you know, if you go into the darkened areas, you're going to have a shit time. It's going to be boring because the Zeus isn't going to send anything at you, and there's no objectives there anyway. So what I like to do is to cover this is come up to the area widget, because it's much easier than using the like numeral values in a trigger to try get a size, and just stretch it over where I want the AO to be. So starting at lacquer, and we'll sort of stretch it up to fit this area. I will play this later. You will see what happens with this and how it works, but for now we're just placing it. Okay, so that's our AO and our basic flags for the layout. Next thing I like to do is to start dropping down some markers, just to sort of describe the mission and how it's going to work. So come back up to markers, we'll get rid of flags, and I'm going to go to standard military, going to grab the empty arrow and place this down. I'm going to resize it. Sometimes when they're too big, they're a bit intrusive. I mean, chucking down hundreds of markers is a bit intrusive too, but I like doing it. And FIA, I think, come under blue for, so I'm just going to chuck down blue for the color. And there we go. So just some descriptive markers to show where the FIA forces are going to be coming from to back up this town that they're defending. So I like markers. I go a bit nuts with them sometimes, but haven't had too many complaints yet. So alright, so got some arrows showing where the enemy forces are going to be coming in from. Now with missions like this, as I said before, I've worked out that all of my objectives are going to be pretty much in and around a geos, but I want the mission itself to start, let's say, getting into contact and the fight and all of that to sort of start a bit before the town itself with ambushes and stuff. So with these types of missions, I like to drop down what's called a phase line. Phase lines are literally just there to show the players that it's pretty likely once you pass this point, you could see yourself coming under contact. So anyway, yeah, so I grab a rectangle marker. Little hot tip with these, if you haven't clicked it down, if you click, hold and drag, you can size them up to however you want. But for a phase line, I don't need that, so I'll just replace one down. I'm going to be taking the information off the AO trigger so it fits the height of the AO. So there'll be just a perfect line in the AO depicting the phase line. So we'll click in here. I think the shortest one, which is the 991700, is the height of the trigger, if I'm pretty sure. So we'll chuck that in. Yep, and there you go. That looks pretty good. Now I want my first sort of bit of contact to come around these hills. So what I'll do is I'll move the phase line about there. And we'll recolor it because we're op4, so we'll have a red phase line. That'll be grid, diagonal, op4. Yep, that's looking pretty swell. Now, if you're a super spurg like me, what I like to do with these phase lines, just to give them a bit more definition, zoom right in on the middle marker, click on it, copy, paste, double click straight away, go to border, and have it as black. And then you just get a very thin line around it. Don't have to do that. That's just me being autistic. Yeah, that works? Okay. So here we go. Got our flags, got some markers, got a phase line, and we know where our objectives are going to be inside of the town itself. So that's going to be pretty much it for this first episode. I'll see you in the second one, where we're actually going to place down the objectives, go through the create task marker, and start placing objective objects. So I'll see you guys over in the next one.